All right, everyone. Welcome. Founder Jam number 23. We're at 23 already. It is crazy that we're this far in. As you can see, I'm in a little bit different of a location today. We'll get to that later. Today's an important day because we are going to be talking about bookkeeping. Now, bookkeeping is not an exciting topic. I understand that. Trust me, I get it. But we are going to make it exciting today. You know, there's always an exciting conversation on Founder Jam. So bookkeeping today is something that you got to do. Some might call it a necessary evil in the world of business ownership. If you're a founder, someone has got to run the books, not cook the books. Someone has got to run the books. Well, if you're cooking the books, then there are probably other problems that you have to worry about. But we're going to talk about that today. And I got an interesting fact about the word bookkeeping or the word bookkeeper. I'll share that with you a little bit later too. And once Joe jumps on here, we're going to talk a little bit more deeply about it. In the meantime, I will address the room that I'm in. It's probably not light enough right now, but you can see it. In my house, we call this the travel room. Up here, we have this nice map of the world that my wife and I use to keep track of all the places that we've been. And the cool thing about it is that you just kind of scratch it off. Have you ever had one of those scratch off lottery tickets or maybe a scratch and sniff sticker back in the day? This is kind of like that, except for you can't win a lot of money and it definitely doesn't smell. But it's a cool way of keeping track of the places you've been. And now with some things, travel opening up, even though we have had a couple outbreaks here of COVID where I'm at. So hopefully that gets cleared up as well. People wear your masks, get your vaccinations. Let's get done with this virus. But in the meantime, there are some other places opening up. Travel opportunities are coming up. So that stuff is going to come up too. If you look at the travel room here, we're going to talk about that probably a little bit later on Founder Jam as well. And as we wait for Joe to jump on, I will say this. When you're a business owner and you manage your own business and you make your own schedule, it is kind of cool that you can travel, especially with technology. You can travel these days a little bit more than maybe you could in the past. So we get through the pandemic. Number one, most important thing, be safe out there. Let's get through that. But then founders can do stuff like travel, and you can communicate with your bookkeeper no matter where you are in the world. What a cool opportunity that we have these days. So we're going to have some questions on that. If you are new to Founder Jam, the way this works is we pose a couple questions throughout the 3 to 4, maybe 5 questions to each other through Joe and I throughout the recording, throughout the broadcast. And if we have a guest, we'll throw them in there as well. But also, we want to receive some feedback. We want to get some responses or some questions of your own, because we know that we're only both business owners, Joe for less than 2 years and me for less than a year. And so we're not what you would call experts in business ownership. So opinions and ideas and thoughts are definitely welcomed, because our own are definitely not the only ones out there. And part of the reason why we're doing this is not just to shed any knowledge that we have on you all, which we would be more than happy to do that, share anything that we found in my 6 months of business ownership and Joe's a year and a half or so. However, we do know that there's other information out there. So that's what we want to get. So don't just rely on us for great information. It's not about that. We're hoping to build our knowledge base as time goes on, as we bring in more guests and have more people and more responses. But any interaction is greatly welcomed and appreciated to help us be better at what it is that we do here on Founder Jam and in our business too. I mean, let's be honest. If I've only owned a business for 6 months, not even 6 months, for somewhere between 4 and 5 months, I got a lot to learn, and I want to get better at that, because I think we can make a positive impact on what it is that we're doing. So if you are ready to learn something about that here on Founder Jam, you're in the right place. Share it out with you. Share it out with the people that you know, people that you care about, like it, support it, so that we can help each other grow and be better business owners. One of the things that we do here on the end of our broadcast here on Founder Jam is we have a rapid fire segment where either Joe or I ask each other some crazy questions, hopefully related somewhat to the subject, but sometimes you get some pretty interesting answers out there. I am making sure that Joe has the right link for our broadcast today. You know, we are not technology experts either, although I just wrote a book. I'm working on writing my book about technology, partially about technology, but we are definitely not experts. So making sure Joe has that link to get into our broadcast room here. And so welcome any questions, ideas as you're thinking about waiting for Joe. Think about some ideas and things about what you do in your bookkeeping world. Do you have someone who does it for you? Do you do your own books? Have you hired a third-party organization? Does your family member, spouse, friend, does someone else just do it for you out of the love? I can only imagine doing that for a short period of time. I couldn't be a bookkeeper for anyone just for the love of it, but it's something that we have to do. So it's something that you have to get done in order to be a successful business person. I've heard way too many stories of people who get behind on their books and then realize how important it is. It's better to stay ahead. Make those tasks and things that you have to get done, whether it's bookkeeping or any other task, to be honest with you, as a new business owner. But getting all those things done and habitualized so that you're great at what you do as time goes on. And speaking of great at what you do, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Joseph J. Nolan, welcome to Founder Jam 23, brother. What's up?
So, man, good to be back. Good to be back. Another week in the books. Excited for this week. Bringing the energy as always. It's great to see you again, man. How are you? Where are you?
I'm doing good.
Back in home.
Good. Another
HQ or what?
Another week in the books, and today we're talking about the books.
That's right. You caught it. You caught it. You
got what I picked up what you were putting down there, bro. So
right, man.
To answer your question, yes, I'm at home. I'm actually in my travel room.
Nice.
So let me isolate just for a second so you can see. I was pointing out to the listeners earlier, the travel room here, we have this map, and hopefully travel is starting to open up, although we had some COVID cases down here in South Florida. But this map actually relates to our discussion today. So I might have to bring it back later. So
yeah, for sure. Very cool. Is that where do you keep some pins in there or some little marks of all the different places you've been traveling to?
It's a scratch pad. So you scratch off where you've been to.
How cool is that? I've never heard of something like that.
Yeah.
Very cool, man. Very cool.
So it's kind of funny though, because we've been to Moscow a couple times and then we scratched off all of Russia. So it kind of looks deceiving.
But, hey, that works. That works.
But Russia's a very colorful country on that map.
It's a big place, you know. There's a lot of landmass there, so I feel like you might be cheating a little bit, but not terribly, not enough to cancel you. You know,
yeah,
we're good to go.
We've seen the country, and to be honest with you, I'd be lying if I said we've seen most of Russia in Moscow, because a lot of Russia's, you know, in the tundra up there, it's frozen, and you know, the Siberia that's a completely different world than it is in Moscow.
Sure.
By the way, Moscow is a cool city though, man. I've been there a couple times now. I really liked walking around, and once in the summer and once in the winter. It was cool. It was really cool.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. My friends have been there, say it's a beautiful city. The architecture is really something else.
It is. It's like you can have this ancient cathedral with that old style Russian architecture with the bulbs and the points but then right next to it, this really fancy modern looking office building. So it's kind of a cool dichotomy there. So anyway, we're not here to talk about architecture. We're here to talk about bookkeeping on Founder Jam 23. 23. Can you believe we're at 23, man? We're almost at a quarter of 100.
Well, that's a good way of thinking it. Half to 50, quarter of 100. You know, what started as a conversation while we're both pacing around our houses one day has turned into something pretty special. And yeah, man, this is fantastic. I look forward to it every week, and the idea is great. I mean, everyone we tell about it is a big fan. People, when they see it, the content online, are big fans. So yeah, thank you, man. Thanks for sharing this. Thanks to everybody who keeps watching and giving us some ideas. I've even shared with you. A friend of mine sent me some ideas today. She tunes in almost every week, so we're going to keep the topic ideas rolling, man. So far, so good.
Awesome. Well, today our topic is bookkeeping, and I started off in my little intro. Bookkeeping is not really exciting, but at Founder Jam, we can make anything.
We're going to make it exciting.
Exactly.
Well, let's here. I'll start off by sharing this. Right, we're always about honesty and being open.
Yeah.
Talking about it not being exciting, I would say this. I think for me personally, it's very uncomfortable. It's a very uncomfortable topic because I've learned the hard way through some trials and tribulations. And it's a hard topic. It's a hard topic. It's not something I personally know a lot about, even though when we were in school, I got A pluses in all of my accounting classes. That was great for some fundamentals, but in practice, you need a lot more knowledge. So I'll admit to the audience, it's a topic that I've been through a lot. Hopefully I can share some of that knowledge today with everyone. And if nothing else, if you tune out after this, just know that you're not alone. It's an area where we all have expertise, and just like anything else, there are people with expertise in accounting, bookkeeping, two different things, by the way. We'll get that right out there. But just like you're running your business and have a product idea, right? These individuals and companies and teams, that's what they are talented in, and that's what they're passionate about. So don't be afraid. That trepidation, that uncertainty is natural. And with that being said, I hope everyone learned something today. We have some pretty cool topics and some knowledge we're going to share out with everyone. So yeah, man, thanks for letting me share that to kick off.
No problem, dude. Listen, I mean, you might think that because of the nature of the business that I'm in, that bookkeeping and accounting are,
Sure.
I got that on lock. It's far from the truth, man. It's something that it's about running the business, and I'm not as comfortable. I'm still not as comfortable as doing a lot of those tasks, and that's one of them. So we do have a bookkeeper at Initiate Impact, but let's go with the let's jump right into the questions, man. Since I don't want to spill all the beans.
Yeah, go for it, man. Question number 1 is live.
All right, question number 1 is live. It is: how did you find your bookkeeper and accounting firm? So you've made the copy team, the question team has made the assumption that we've hired a bookkeeper and accounting firm.
Yes, we thought we could kind of circle back here, and for people who haven't, they can learn from what we're about to talk about with our answer, and that will help them out a little bit.
So, well, if you want me to really make it really simple for me or for you, how do I explain this? But I found our accountant and our bookkeeping firm simply through the third-party organization that we have, or second-party, I guess, organization that we have that works through a lot of our compliance and regulatory things and help us get registered and provides a lot of our continuing education. They're called XYPN Network. That stands for XY Planning Network. XY being the generations of people. And so what XY Planning Network does is they organize and put together a group of people. Oh man, I think they've been around 6 or 7 years now. They've grown rapidly, but they are for financial professionals looking to provide fee-only advice to generation, primarily, not only, but primarily to Generation X and Generation Y clients.
Very cool.
So we joined this organization for many, many different reasons. But one of them is because a lot of those behind the scenes business tasks, they don't necessarily do for you, but they help you organize it. They recommend organizations, and they have systems in place to help you do that when you're concentrating on being a financial advisor instead of those sort of behind the scenes back office type of thing. So they recommended to us an organization called FA Bean Counters. Mm-hmm. I'm getting a plug to them. Stands for Financial Advisor Bean Counter, who's actually subsequently kind of become part of XYPN. So they're just called XYBC now. So XY Bean Counter. So they do our books. And I looked at other ones. I looked at all kinds of different organizations, but their technology kind of went seamlessly with XYPN's. Plus, they work specifically with people in our industry. So it was just a really good fit. I had a conversation, really liked them, and it was a pretty easy decision.
Very cool. And about how long did it take you to engage with them and that finding process? Was it pretty quickly through the network that you mentioned?
I'd say it took me about, I mean, I'm a slow decision maker to a fault at times. It probably took me a couple of months to go through the different options. And this was before we actually were licensed and started a business, so it was okay. Like, it wasn't like I was in a rush. So it took me a couple months to check out a couple different options, but it was really, honestly, if I was push came to shove, I could have made the decision in 2 days probably.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Your experience is remarkably different than mine. It is the polar opposite experience that I had with bookkeeping. Wow, I should have called you, to be honest, but this was before we had like kind of reconnected in person. All right, the very short of this, because it's going to get me fired up, but the very, very short version is
fired up.
I tried someone that I knew from college who had an accounting firm. His family's had a practice there for 70 years in Times Square, right in Midtown New York. That was a train wreck. That was a disaster.
Like Hofstra College?
Hofstra, yeah, Hofstra. Love Hofstra.
We'll talk
Nothing bad about Hofstra. Great school. But this firm was not a great fit. Then tried with my previous financial planning team and finance team. Their recommendation, that was also very poor. And then finally, actually, at that point, I had joined the Forbes Business Council in New York, which is a tremendous community. We're on the business community kind of message board. There's some for tech and finance. There's a couple different verticals, and they were able to help me find a couple options for firms that have turned out to be a fantastic fit. And I don't want to give away some of the next questions, but completely changed my perspective on what we're doing and kind of and how we approach things. So yes, it was certainly nothing short of a roller coaster for 12 months. And as you guys know, over 12 months, you're paying your taxes, you're setting up your business. So it was a wild ride. I would say if you're going to do business with friends, it is hard. It is hard, and be mindful of it. And everyone says it's hard because they think you're going to have higher expectations. What I've learned is I don't set the expectations high enough. When doing business, you kind of try to give people a pass, give them a second try. And that's not beneficial to either party, So that's the long and short of it. If anybody wants to know more, they can ping me. But right now I'm very pleased with the team I have in the back office, but certainly use as many resources as you can to find the right fit for you.
Yeah. And I think having connections to people, I hate the word connect. Well, I don't hate it,
right.
But we overuse the word connections, but having people that and can trust to give you a recommendation, I think is important. But either way, you still have to test out. It's got to be a good system fit for you. And depending on what type of service you're looking for, I found that there's certain things that it may just be the representative from the organization that you're working with, right? I mean,
totally.
That's really important too, right? So I know that if with XYBC, like if they weren't a good fit for, or at least the first person I spoke with there, I know all of their credentials made sense for the organization. Maybe I would have just luckily I didn't need to do this, but maybe I would have just needed a different service advisor or whatever. But it's about the person that you're working directly with having a good idea of who you are and what your values are. So
absolutely.
Interesting though that you had that different experience. I guess maybe what you're saying is that we're kind of spoiled. Like we got kind of lucky that the first go around was a good fit for us.
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, potentially maybe my misfortune can help others because we've really been through it. And I tell everyone starting this up, whether it was accounting, whether it was graphic design services, and that's something that we're in the middle of that space every day. But it's interesting when you're starting up a business, it's different than working at a large brand or a large agency. And you have to find people and organizations that are the right fit. And the right fit means the individual, the right fit that you work with every day, like you were mentioning, the right talent, and the right working engagement, I think is really important. How you engage with your partners, especially everything behind the scenes in your business. We've talked for 22 weeks about everything consumer facing. Now this is behind the scenes, right? This is
Mhm.
everything that helps us all be successful with the last 22 weeks of topics. So how you engage there is very important.
Yeah, maybe this is a groundbreaking opportunity for Founder Jam here to really start looking within, because you're right, we have been looking without for a while now, which is important. I mean, your image and branding.
Mhm.
I mean, you know that Jono Marketing,
Sure.
top-notch marketers. You guys know how important it is to have a good image out there, especially on social.
Right.
So check out
That's right.
jonomarketing.com. But I think really we have to sometimes look within to find the real things. Like, it can be really easy to create this amazing facade, may not be the right word, but this great image for our business that looks great. But if you're not running it smoothly behind the scenes, it's going to fall apart eventually. And
Well, and that, yeah, and you're exactly right. And behind the scenes is what enables you to be successful outward facing, right? And
Yeah.
consumer facing.
Mhm.
It's absolutely critical because every minute and the amount of energy, like these are some of the things we talked about with Mark Glissini way back when, right?
Way back.
Everything way back in the beginning, the OGs. But when he was breaking down how we prioritize everything we do, a tremendous amount of it is behind the scenes. People never see it. Your clients, your customers never see what goes into delivering them that product. But that itself is your core of your business, right? If that's dysfunctional, or not even if it's dysfunctional, but if it's not running as well as it could be, that is a disadvantage for you, and is kind of a suppressing, what you can be.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right. Question numero dos. Let's do it.
Yep. Question number 2 is live.
All right. Do you view back office as a cost center or resource center? This was a great question, man. I want you to tackle this one first, because I don't know how to answer it, and I need time to think about it.
I think of it as simply as this is what I learned very early on, and again the hard way, when it came to financing and bookkeeping the business. And we're self-funded, by the way, but we work closely with our financing partners, of course. Is that first, emotionally, something that I'm not comfortable with, I learned that I had to kind of change my perspective on this. Yes, there is a cost each month to doing this. Yes, revenue ebbs and flows. So whatever cost it is today may feel fine, and in 3 months it may feel like a lot, right? But that is running a business. That's what comes along with it. So I had to raise my emotional quotient for that, but also change my perspective and view this more favorably. And I think what was critical to that was having partners that were on board with that and taught me that. So literally the third partner was the one that came to me and said, look, we're not a cost center for you. You pay us every month, we get it. Just like your clients pay you every month, but you deliver them great value and services in return. And we're here to do the same thing. And what I learned is, by having the right back end team, areas that we can save, just as a primary example, where we're saving money, and it's not on saving necessarily on your taxes at the end of the year. It's not about that. It's about your monthly run rate and making good financial planning decisions with hiring or technology investments, right? Things like that. That's what we're really talking about. When you're saving there, those savings and that performance with your money is something that you can then take and make it an investment elsewhere, whether it's just putting it in the bank, or whether it's going out and buying new technology, hiring new people, bring on board new partners, things like that, business development, whatever it might be. And so for me, it was a total 180 working with my latest team, which said, look, you're paying, no matter who does your bookkeeping and accounting, you're paying them what you're paying them every month, right? But how can you at Jono benefit way more than simply just quarterly filing the paperwork? Us doing the paperwork, you signing off on it, sending it in. You can certainly do it that way, but there's a whole other perspective of how can we manage our business well so that we can do other things besides accounting and bookkeeping really well and grow the business.
Yeah. Well, it's the whole, it goes back to the whole, like, how much is your time worth type of thing, right? I mean, are there there's definitely things that I can't do as efficiently as the back office can do, but there's probably not too many things that I can't do at all. The problem is it really worth my time doing all that? Like, there's other things that I'm better at, right? And so it makes more sense for me to do that. However, I will tell you this: when I first started in my financial career, this was 2009-ish, late 2009. I had all these ideas and business plans and all this other stuff, and I researched how to do a lot of all this stuff. And the great news was I learned I didn't have to do a lot of it in the previous model system company that I worked for. Bookkeeping was way not as detailed as it has to be now owning the business. But I thought I had to do I had to have my hands on all that stuff. But come to find out, 12, 13 years later, it's just too much. It's too complicated. You can't be an expert in everything. And if you can find someone or an organization that understands, kind of alluded to this earlier, understands exactly what is valuable and what's helpful for you, then it's not just some cookie cutter approach where like, hey, this is how we do it for everyone. It's what's the best way to do this for you and your business and your company and your mission. That is like, so it's way more valuable than, I mean, I hate to say this, but maybe I should be paying my bookkeeper more than I am. But it's because it's a really, very valuable service. And just to echo all of what you're saying, but I really want to emphasize that it's not that you or I can't, it's that we shouldn't, right? It's
Great point.
Be doing that.
That's a fantastic point. No, I mean, I don't have anything else to add there, man, because that's spot on. I mean, there's things we could do. I ran my books for the first year, but it turns out when you grow and you go from 3 clients to 6 clients, 7 clients, all of a sudden, things become a little bit more complicated. You start traveling all over the country or all over the world, different types of expenses, and then things you just never knew about because you don't do this every day for a living. Sure, you can enter it in the software, but you may be missing out on tons of things, it turns out.
Yeah.
So can we do it? Absolutely. I'd say most people can, to be honest. There's ways to learn, and the systems are better now than ever before. But that prohibits us from doing other things like you're saying. Doing anything else really prohibits us from downtime, family time, recovery time, and other business activities.
Yep. Completely agree. All right. Let us hit up question number 3.
All right. Question number 3 is live.
How do you engage with your bookkeeping firm? I'll start off on this one.
Go for it.
Engage with my bookkeeping firm digitally primarily. Obviously, you have to have conversations with them. And we try to connect monthly to make sure. I mean, that's really at the point now. We were behind a couple of months because we were still getting things figured out. So early on, it was kind of tough. So we had some times where it was like, well, do we even really need to talk yet? Because they don't have everything even understood of what our expenses are. But once you kind of get into a groove, it could be a quick email. Hey, make sure you send me these expenses. Okay, great. Got them to you. Any questions? Good. I would say quarterly, we're going to need probably a little bit more deeper of a dive. And then obviously once a year, we got to have a really good solid review to make sure they're working with the accounting firm and getting all that stuff done. So how do you engage with bookkeeping firm? It's monthly and as needed.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I would say mine is, again, interestingly, different than yours, right? Different, a little bit different engagement. Mine is more so, it's very digital. It's kind of very hands-off for me. It was a lot of work on the upfront with the bookkeeping so they understood my business in particular, especially when we started with them as a media company. We would float spend for clients, right? Yeah. So we would cover those media costs. It was very common. But accounting wise, that is different accounting based on when you're recognizing revenue or things like that. Mm-hmm. So all of that sort of the nuances of being a media agency, we cover in the beginning. They have a background there, which really helps. So we're speaking the same language, and we have a setup where it then runs on autopilot. And then the sessions that you mentioned that you have kind of monthly, quarterly, annually, I rely on my accounting partner to manage those sessions on my behalf with the bookkeeper. So a little bit different, I think, maybe there because my skill set and expertise is not in that domain, and I'm kind of delegating some of that work away to the pros. So that's how we engaged it. We're finishing up year one of this relationship with again, all new partners, and I have to say, pretty satisfied with the way it went this year. But again, now if I ever need to, I think this is important. If I ever need to engage with the bookkeepers or the accountants, they're available. They're accessible for me to engage with, which I think is important, especially depending on the size of your business. There's a lot of apps out there now and some accounting tech startups that can really do a great job. But I would always make sure you when you are exploring them, make sure you understand what type of engagement you can get from them, like live engagement, ask questions, and engage on your business, because it is important, and it certainly helps with peace of mind, of course.
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people would only wish to just not have to deal with any of that stuff, to be honest with you. So I don't blame you. I honestly don't blame you for wanting to not really have to do too much communication. And as much as you might think, I don't really want to be that involved in that stuff either. But when we're only 4 or 5 months into our business and we're still learning the systems, I think it's just been important for me to understand. At a certain point, we may get to a point where I don't need to communicate with these people, maybe once a quarter, twice a year, maybe. So directly.
Sure. And that makes sense. I think, well, you bring up another good point too, as a business owner, which is being engaged appropriately in the beginning to make sure things are running the right way. Right. If and this goes for any business, especially like my friends who are restaurateurs, right, where they don't want what everyone says in that industry is like the absentee owner. The success of restaurants, there's a correlation, right, to the time that owners are putting in, and how successful the business is, but especially when it gets started. And I've said to them, I think that's true for any business. When you're starting out, is to be more as engaged as possible, again, appropriately. We don't have to be over manic about it, and allow, we want to allow the experts to do their job, but be available for them as much as possible in the beginning so that they can be successful for you.
Yeah. Be there. It's like being a good parent. Be involved.
Yes. Be present. Yep.
Be present. All right, cool, man. Let's hit up number 4. We're making good time.
Question number 4 is live.
All right.
Whoa. Get excited, man. We get excited. Question 4.
I dropped my mic.
It's a mic drop. Easiest question of the day, too.
Yeah. How many hours do you spend on bookkeeping per month? So this is basically related to what we were just talking about. I'd probably say a couple hours at this point, maybe a little bit more, depending on how much time I need. So, but that would involve, getting the statements together, making sure everything matches up, and sending them over, and then communicating with my my direct bookkeeper. So,
very cool. Yeah, mine is probably 1, max 2. With anything bookkeeping is max 1. Accounting is a little bit more, especially since we've just changed locations, so that required more involvement on my behalf. Probably max 2. And I think for people who are watching this saying, how in the world can you run these organizations with both of us with pretty healthy books of business and not be that engaged? I think we are proving, we're being honest here with everyone, and we're proving that there is a way to free up your time and resources with this area of your business if you're working with the right partners.
Yes, that's a great way to put it. And I don't know about you. Well, I know a little bit about you, but I know more about myself, although my wife probably wouldn't agree with that. But I know that it's very hard for me to just let something go. It's a challenging thing for me to just say, hey, you handle it. I trust you. And I had to learn that lesson pretty quickly when we opened the business. You know, it took me 12
Oh
years
yeah,
to figure it out,
it's
but
hard.
I had to
It's
implement
hard. Yeah.
just to say, you know what, you handle it. I trust
Yeah.
you. And the thing I always keep in the back of my mind is I'm not hiring these people to be perfect. I don't need to spend 40 hours a month with them handling it. And they're going to make mistakes. Like things are going to happen. I would make mistakes too. And the key is, though, that it's better that they make the mistakes and I'm working on something else being productive than I make the mistakes and I'm not working on anything else at the same time. So while they goof up or we're a little bit late on something, I don't know. This hasn't actually happened, but I'm just saying I'm in anticipation of this. In my mind, it allows me to let go of things knowing that my time is better spent doing something else.
Well, look, you touched on that's a really strong emotional quotient, right? That's huge. The ability to let things go. And what's funny is when I talk with my friends who maybe are in academia or are in business, but at different areas of business, different types, certainly different industries than you or I. When we talk about, hey, how was your week? And we go through a couple things that happen and their eyes light up and like, how the heck could that? And, I walk around and say, that's business. Like this will happen and an issue will come up. A negative issue will happen. A client will say something. One of your partners will make an error. No one wants to do that, right? So how we all respond to that immediately dictates how successful we will be.
Yeah.
That is paramount, man. That is paramount. And look, I've been through, everyone's probably saying this sounds crazy and it's just related to your client work and customer facing work. I have been through 3 bookkeeping, financial planning, and accounting teams in 3 years, almost 4 years. Right. So I've been through the trenches with that, and I have an appreciation for overcoming that sort of adversity. And it's really true. These memes that you'll see on Instagram or some of the motivational speakers, right? How we respond to adversity is absolutely critical. And adversity can occur whether it's bookkeeping, technology, whatever. So for all the entrepreneurs out there, you gotta keep a thick skin, eye on the prize, right, and stay focused when those types of things happen.
For sure, man. I think adversity is something to be expected and embraced as much as possible. So, all right, you know what this means. You know what time it is.
I was curious. For our weekly viewers, I have not brought up the rapid fire round. This was because I was trying to be polite. Last week, we finally stumped Mr. DePasquale a little bit and took his success ratio below 90%, which felt pretty good. Felt pretty good, not going to lie. So I wasn't going to bring it up this week, man. I was just trying to be polite. But if you are ready to go with rapid fire, man, I'm ready. But we lost him. Bobby's gone. Oh man, right with rapid fire. Lois, thank you. Thanks for that feedback. We really appreciate that. Look, it's true. No one's perfect. We all make mistakes. The response to those mistakes is critical because everything's always moving forward, right? Business is moving forward, your competitors, your customers, everything is moving forward. I also think sometimes it does present tremendous opportunities. How we look at different systems, how we look at how we interact with people, how we communicate with people, depending on different functions. We can use moments as learning experiences and not just these moments and instances of negativity. It's hard. Human nature is certainly, I think most people want to be hard on themselves a little bit, but the important thing is staying focused and in some ways having a short-term memory and moving on to the next thing. The next thing is Bob DePasquale being back where, we broke the internet. We beat Bob DePasquale last week and apparently broke the internet at his headquarters just now with stepping up to the plate for rapid fire. And the mic doesn't work. It's amazing. It's amazing.
I was just about to give Lois a shout out. Thank you, Lois, for throwing that out there. How we respond to errors. So here's an error of mine, a technological error that I normally have. So how you respond?
You look a technology error we usually have. I don't think you and I are responding to this error very well over 23 weeks.
Yeah, we're not. So let me ask you a question, Lois. Thank you for asking this point. So Lois, now is not responding at all an acceptable response? Because I've seen that that's kind of what we've done here. We just ignored the technological issues.
We have ignored 22 weeks of our own medicine.
So anyway, Lois.
Actually, wait, though, hold on. This is not true, though, right? Hold on. This is not true because you have a new computer, new microphones.
You are.
Right.
Yes, Lois. Thank you. I mean, you're right. I appreciate the positive feedback. Lois Letts for getting involved in the show, entrepreneur, specialist in her own right. So thanks, Lois.
Oh, man. I'm ready, man. I'm ready. You better hurry up with these questions before
all right,
before something overheats or
let's hit rapid fire before Lois hangs up on us and
right.
before the show just goes down the drain. All right, hang on. Let me get the graphic up there. Right.
Okay.
Bam,
there it is.
All right, here we go.
All right.
Pressure on you, Joe, this week. Now remember, this is rapid fire, and so that means you have to give me the answer swiftly.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I think what you do. Someone tweeted this to me. Well, DM'd me. It's funny how we still say tweet, right? Or maybe I'm just old. They're like, maybe Bob takes a long time because he's Googling the answers in the background. And you're just been getting played for the last 10 weeks of rapid fire. And I thought,
no, it's not the case. I don't Google anything.
Yes.
I only Google the questions.
Hello, right. Maybe I have been duped by Mr. Di Pasquale the last several weeks.
No.
Hands-free, guys. This is a hands-free question environment. Go ahead. I'm ready.
All right, you ready? Here we go.
No Google. No Google.
Here's the question.
Hey, Google.
How many bookkeepers, estimated now, how many bookkeepers are there in the United States?
3.8 million.
Negative. 1.73 million bookkeepers. So you kind of doubled it, but that was a good guess. So
okay.
Along those lines, the bookkeeper job market, I'm going to give you, I'll give you a hint. It's growing.
Okay.
There's expected increases. How many or what percentage do they expect an increase in the next year?
28%.
Whoa, that's a lot, man. No, 1.9%.
If anyone's catching on, well, the way this game works is Joe asks Bobby seemingly normal questions with normal sorts of like, oh, it's growing, be excited. Bobby asks me a lot of contrarian questions, which tend to stump me, and they're kind of unfriendly, but we got this. We'll get the next one. Okay.
Well, I mean, this is supposed to be
related. My goodness.
Right?
Well, this is, yeah. How do you find these questions? Who's fact checking these? Can we have someone in the audience fact check these for us? Gee.
Okay. I got another question for you.
Okay. All right. You have to have at least 3.
Related to bookkeeping.
Okay.
What is the average cost of bookkeeping services for a small business in the United States?
Per year?
Per month.
Per month. Per month. $17.50.
I have $63.
$63? What?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Who's okay? Hold on a second. Learning lesson for the audience. If your bookkeeper's charging you $60 a month, find someone else.
I read the wrong number. I read the low annual. The average annual, so you divide it, is actually 18. Yeah, I'll give it to you. 1823. So I'll give it to you. So you got that one.
But that's per year.
No, per month. I did the math. So you said
Oh, okay.
1750. So
Right.
congratulations.
You see, look, thank you very much, Bobby. You responded to that error very well. Thank you for that. See, look, everybody, we're just moving forward. We are forward looking.
You did really, really well.
I'm one for three. 1 for 3. Okay.
Yeah, you're 1 for 3. You're 1 for 3. Okay.
Are there any left?
There's one more question.
Let's do it.
Okay. What are the top 2? Okay. Top 2. There's multiple, but the top 2 roles of a bookkeeper, according to bookkeeping.com or whatever it is.
Something like entry management, like the record of each item, like managing that, making sure they are classified appropriately.
Yes, that's the primary one, recording the transactions and debits. Excellent.
Yep, recording transactions, that's number 1. And number 2 is reconciling, maybe? Month?
That's part of it. It's kind of the same process. So you're done with that. What once they have all of that stuff reconciled and recorded, what do they have to do with it?
They typically prepare it into a document and share with the client.
Okay, that's close.
Again, everyone, Bobby cannot ask 4 questions that do not have some sort of magical answer to them.
No, that was good. They have to produce the statements and report them to them.
Yes, that's what I said the first time. Yes, yeah. Combine it.
Yes, yeah, that was.
You just don't like it when I'm winning. You don't like it.
You got 2 out of the 4 questions right today.
Yeah, 500, man, puts me in the Hall of Fame.
That's the first time you've gotten any right, no less too. But
no. It's not that bad. Typically, I get 1 right, but yes, we'll take 2. We'll take 2.
You got 2, so you doubled your average today.
I doubled my average with no help of Google, like you typically use, and we're fine. This is we're evening the playing field. Google. I don't know. There's rumors.
Anyway, cool, man. Rapid fire closed in the books. Founder Jam 23, awesome conversation. Listen, bookkeepers are an important service. Consider that for your business. Don't get behind on your books and have to hire someone to catch you up. Hire them in advance.
That's a nightmare, guys. Don't do it.
Yep. All right, brother. Listen, we'll be back next week for Founder Jam 24. We have special guests next week on the books. Brian Adams from Excelsior Capital.
Wow, fantastic.
He's coming in to talk about the real estate and family office market, and he's going to give us some really good tips on how to start a business that you're not familiar with, that you don't have.
Wow, very cool.
So that's Brian Adams. Check him out on LinkedIn. We'll be here 3 p.m. Eastern, noon on the West Coast, 8 p.m. if you're in London. We will be live next Wednesday. So everyone have a good rest of your week. This is Founder Jam signing off.
Peace.